Hey guys, today's video is going to be my Sephora VIB sale recommendations. I asked you guys on my Insta stories if you guys wanted to see this, even though it's a little late in my opinion. As I'm filming this, it is November 5th, so for VIB Rouge members, you were able to shop the sale starting November 3rd. You guys have 2 weekends. You're so lucky. I'm still just a VIB. If I ever make it to VIB Rouge, I'm pretty sure my fiance would kill me. So like I said, I did ask you guys on my Insta stories, and 75% of you that voted said you'd still like to see it. So I'm going to try and film and edit this super quick and get it up for you guys. If you're new here, hi, my name is Emily. If you enjoy beauty related content, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. There will be a giveaway, which I've mentioned in many of my videos, once I hit 100 subscribers. So be sure to click that button down below so you don't miss out on that when I reach that goal on my channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I already know this video is going to be super long, so I tried to go category by category and pick out my absolute must-haves from each category. These aren't necessarily my favorite all-time products because all these products are sold at Sephora, and you know, I do have some drugstore favorites and stuff like that, so it's not like a holy grail type video. But as I was picking through my collection, these are things that I have purchased from Sephora that I absolutely love and feel comfortable recommending to you. I'm going to start off with makeup and start off with base. So for primer, I actually have 3. I tried to narrow it down, but I really can't live without any of these 3 primers. So the first one is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. I use this pretty much every day before I go in with another primer. I just feel like it gives my skin a little bit of extra hydration, and I don't really know if it makes that big of a difference. Like, I don't know what's in here that would make it special, but for the most part, I just like the process of like spraying my face. But I do feel like if I use this, my makeup does apply better over my skin. So this is the first primer that I would recommend. Along the hydration front, the second primer I have here is the Too Faced HangoveRX. I still don't know how to say that. This primer here, this is a great hydrating primer. It's not super nourishing, so if you have really dry skin, I'm not sure how this would work for you. But for me, coming into the colder months, I have more normal to dry skin, and this gives me the hydration that I need on the perimeter of my face. I don't bring this down into my T-zone because right now we're still in fall, so I still get a little bit oily here. Once we're in the dead of winter, I will be so dry. I'll have to use this all over my face, but right now I'm applying it along my forehead and then kind of on my cheek area and even down my neck a little bit, just to make sure that my skin is nice and moisturized. Even though I would moisturize my skin in my morning skincare routine, I just like adding this on top as well. And then one of my biggest skin concerns right now is my pores. I have really large pores along the center of my cheeks and across my nose especially, and this is my favorite primer to fill those in. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and this is the Pore Minimizing variety. This is the smaller size that they sell on the website, but it's actually cheaper to constantly get the smaller size than the bigger one, which is twice the product in it, but it's also more than twice the price. So unlike with a lot of other things, if you buy the baby size, it's less value for money, but this is actually better value for money, so I'd recommend just getting the small one. All of my Smashbox primers are this size, so this fills in my pores great, and I don't feel like it clogs them. Like, I feel like my double cleanse in the evening really clears out the silicone-based primer from my pores, which I have had troubles with in the past. Because these silicone primers fill in your pores, making your foundation glide over top of them a lot easier. Sometimes it really clogs your pores and makes it hard to kind of get it out again, but I feel like this one comes out relatively easily. As I was going through my foundations, I actually only own one high-end foundation currently. I've decluttered all of my other ones. And the one I have kept is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This pump I have on here is from MAC. The MAC pumps are cheaper than the pump that Estee Lauder sells, so I still buy the MAC pumps to put on top. I can get away wearing this even now that my skin is starting to dry out, as long as I use a moisturizing primer like this Too Faced one. But this foundation is my go-to in the summertime because it holds up against my oily skin super well in the summertime, and I hardly ever have to retouch. So if you have oily skin, I would 100% recommend this to you. If you have drier skin, I would just be wary with the primers you are putting underneath it, but I still think it's a fabulous foundation. It has medium buildable coverage. You can build this up to be pretty full coverage. I know when people talk about it, they describe it as being cakey and mask-like, but I completely disagree. If you go in with a damp beauty blender and don't cake it on, it does not look cakey. So I usually wear this at about the medium coverage level, but it does layer upon itself really well. So those people, in my opinion, that say it's a really mask-like foundation are just applying way too much. You don't need a whole lot of this foundation for it to look great on your skin. Right now, this is probably my favorite foundation ever. So I would definitely recommend the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Also, I know I didn't mention at the beginning of this video, but I'm actually wearing most of these products on my face. Everything on my face is included in this video, but I couldn't, use everything on my face at once. So if you are wondering what a lot of these things look like, I am wearing them today. My favorite concealer sold at Sephora that I have tried is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. This provides medium buildable coverage for me. I don't have really bad, like bluish dark circles under my eyes. I mean, I look tired because I have an infant, but I don't have those super dark circles. If you do, I would recommend going in with a corrector before something like this, but this provides me with enough coverage. And this shade is perfect for me. This is in Fair Neutral. This is the best shade I have found for me once I am at my palest, which I almost am. This blends out so nicely and I don't find it creases super bad. When I go in with a thicker concealer such as the IT Cosmetics or the MAC Pro Longwear, and I haven't tried the Tarte Shape Tape, but I imagine it to be pretty similar, I always get horrible creasing under my eyes no matter how well I moisturize and how well I set, because I do have fine lines under there. And this is my favorite high-end concealer that I've tried that doesn't settle into my fine lines super bad, but still gives me the coverage that I want. And I really like the shade range that they have of this product. Okay, I'm coming a little closer. I hope that's better. In terms of contour, probably my favorite contour that I have found for my skin tone is in this Too Faced Cocoa Contour Kit. This is my favorite contour kit that I personally own. Light Cocoa here is amazing to set under the eyes. It is my favorite under eye setting powder ever. It's super brightening. It has like a bit of a beigey pink undertone to it, and it just brightens so well. There's no shimmer or glitter in there, which I really appreciate. And Medium Cocoa is the perfect contour shade for my skin tone. I didn't contour today because I don't contour really on a daily basis, but if I do, this is the shade I go for. It's on my middle finger here. I don't find that it's too cool toned where it starts to look ashy on my skin, where I do have slightly warm undertones. And Dark Cocoa is a great bronzer for me in the summertime. It's a bit too dark for me to use in the winter, and that's there on my ring finger. This Pop of Light shade is horrendous. I don't even know why it made it into this palette. It is a glitter fart on your face basically, and not in a good way. It has huge chunks of glitter, and even if you can get this to look nice initially, by the end of the day, you have glitter kind of like smeared all over your cheek area. Definitely not a look that I'm into, so I never use that. It is, to be honest, one of the worst highlights I have ever used, but these other 3 shades in here make this palette completely worth it to me. I really want to try like the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, but it almost has like too many colors for me. I know that sounds really weird, but like knowing that these 3, there's only 1 under eye setting powder, 1 contour shade, and 1 bronzer, and all 3 of these work really well for me, it makes me hesitant to try anything that's bigger and more expensive like the Kat Von D. I do wish this packaging was less bulky. It is quite bulky, but the mirror inside is really nice, and it did come with a really nice brush, which I have actually given to a friend. Overall, I really, really love this contour kit. The other contour shade that I really like is by Kevyn Aucoin. This is on the luxury end of the spectrum, so it is more expensive. But I have the sculpting powder in the shade Light, as I am fair skinned. It almost looks like it would be too light, and it's not really anything in the pan, but that is what gives this a really natural look. If you want to look chiseled, like as if your bone structure is actually like that, go in with something like this where you almost feel like it's too light, but it has a really great shade for me and those of us with fair skin tones. There is there. I will actually compare it to the contour in the Too Faced palette. So it is much more cool toned. This is Kevyn Aucoin and this is Too Faced. There they are there. This one is Too Faced and this one is Kevyn Aucoin. It is a little bit cooler, but it's still not ashy on my skin tone. I have tried contour shades in the past that full on look gray, and that just really doesn't look natural on my skin tone. So if you have a similar skin tone to me and are looking for great contour products, these are the 2 that I would recommend. In terms of bronzer, a lot of my favorites are not sold at Sephora, but the one that I reach for most that is Nars Laguna. I just have a baby size because lately I've just been picking up smaller sizes of products because 1, they're less expensive, and 2, I have so much makeup, it's ridiculous for one person, and I never go through anything really. So I picked up this baby size of Nars Laguna. It is the perfect like medium brown shade, and it does have some shimmer in here, but I'm able to contour with this still because the shimmer isn't noticeable on the skin. It's what I bronzed my face with today. The shimmer in there just gives it a little bit of a luminous quality, but not in a shimmery, glittery way. It just makes it look really healthy on the skin, and I really like that in my face products. I just really love the way that this looks, and it is definitely a cult classic for a reason. For blush, this is no doubt my favorite high-end blush brand. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes. This is the shade Party, which was in their birthday set this year, 2017. And it's just a perfect peachy but still really neutral blush. Again, it's on my face. I really love this one, and it's made me want to pick up some more. Again, this is just a mini size, but how often do you go through a blush? This formula is super long lasting. It's still applying well on my skin now that my skin is drying out a little bit, and it held up all through the day during the summer months when my skin was a greasy disaster. They have a super wide variety of shades to choose from, so if you haven't tried the Tarte Amazonian Clay blushes, I would definitely recommend picking one up. Highlight is another category that I couldn't pick just one. I actually have 2 here. The first one is the one that I have on today. This is the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in 01. I have used this so much, and I can't even tell at all. Like, it's still perfectly dome shaped. Really not sure how that happened, but it is definitely not matte, but it is a more wearable, natural looking highlight. I say natural like as if your skin would actually look like that. There is no glitter or shimmer in here, but when you apply it to the cheekbones, it still reflects the light beautifully. But when you get really close to my face, you don't see like a stripe of shimmer like what happens with a lot of other highlights. I just really like that this one is almost unnoticeable to an average non-makeup lover person, if that makes any sense at all. I reach for this highlighter above all my other ones. I would recommend this to someone that prefers like everyday makeup or makeup they have to wear to the office a lot. Sometimes it's not super appropriate, I guess, to have a beaming highlight in the workplace, and this is definitely one that I would recommend to those of you who do work in an office setting or something like that. The other highlighting formula that I'm absolutely in love with is, of course, Becca. I feel like everyone loves Becca highlighters. The one I grabbed out of my collection right now is Champagne Pop, but I do own a few of them. This is what Champagne Pop looks like. It is a white gold highlight with peach undertones. This looks best on me in the summertime when I do have a little bit of a tan, but I can get away with it when I am more fair if I go in with a super light hand. I own multiple Becca highlighters, as I just mentioned. We got Prosecco Pop in BoxyCharm this month. I have Champagne Pop. I have Opal, and then in the liquid version I do have Moonstone, which is beautiful as well. I do really like the liquid version also. I like putting it underneath my foundation in the winter time just to add a little bit of luminosity to my skin. If you haven't tried Becca highlighters, I would definitely recommend picking one up. They should have a shade that would work for every skin tone. So that was everything in terms of base products. Now moving on to eyes and lip products. I'm going to start off with brows, and I'm going to be super basic and recommend Anastasia to you. I have a few different Anastasia brow pencil products, and the Brow Whiz is just my favorite. It has a super micro tip on it. And with this, I can get super bold brows or get the natural feathered look. I have mine in the shade dark brown, which is what I have in my brows right now. But I think once I run out of this one, I'm going to go down a shade or so, just because I feel like they are a little bit dark. Not that I mind, because I like the bolder brow look, but I do want to try a lighter shade and see how that works out for me. But this is my favorite of her brow pencils that I've tried. And then her clear brow gel is like Stronghold hairspray for your brows. If you have bolder brows like I do, and my brow hairs, like each hair is kind of long and they can get looking crazy real quick, you need something that's going to be really strong hold. So I would definitely recommend the Anastasia one. The wand on this is really nice as well. It's not too big where it gets everywhere, and you can still get like right at the tail and stuff without getting it smeared all over your skin. But this is the brow duo that I reach for all the time. For eye primer, I'm usually reaching for my MAC Paint Pot or the Milani one, but I do reach for the Irma Decay Primer Potion quite a bit as well. This isn't my favorite eyeshadow base of all time, but it is really good. If you are looking to pick one up in the sale, this is the one that I would recommend. I don't have any single shadows to recommend to you, but I do have two palettes, and these are the two palettes that I'm offering up in my giveaway because they are my two favorites. The Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, I feel like, is more versatile in the sense that you can come up with super wearable everyday looks with like this end of the palette, and then you can incorporate some of these more bolder shades if you're feeling a little more bold that day and want to play with some color. They have reds, pinks, and even this beautiful orange shade over here. It doesn't have a black, but it does have a super deep brown shade here in Cypress Umber to deepen up the outer V and stuff, and I feel like that works just fine for me. I don't feel like I'm missing a black in this palette. As you can see, mine does get a lot of love, or maybe you can't. I can't really tell in the viewfinder. I use this palette a lot. I love the warm shades in it, and the berry and pink tones over here are fun to play with as well. But if this is a little too out of your comfort zone, then I would definitely recommend the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. This is the palette I used today. This is the perfect, like, everyday palette in my opinion. There are a ton of neutral shades. When I first looked at this, I felt like it was kind of boring, but the more I play with it, the more I love it. I've had this for a few years now, I think, and I use it all the time. There's a ton of brown shades in here, both warm and cool tone, light to deep, and then there's a bunch of different neutral shimmer shades. So you can mix up your look from day to day, and then there are like some purples and greens in here to spice things up a little bit if that's what you are into. I love that the matte white-ish shade is of a larger pan, and same with this one, because those two shades are super versatile, and I feel like you would hit pan fastest on these two if they were the smaller size. The one shade I wish wasn't in here at all is Strawberry Bonbon, because it's just chalky and powdery. If it was a better formula, it would be really great, because it's a beautiful, like, milky pink shade. Kind of reminds me of like a strawberry milkshake, and I feel like that would be really fun to play with if it was better quality, but I'm always disappointed every time I reach for that. So these are my two favorite palettes from Sephora that I have in my collection. I didn't apply any eyeliner today, but if I had to pick one liquid liner that I've tried from Sephora, then I would recommend the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner. This is a cult classic product as well. It's just really good. The tip on it is super long and fine, and it just makes applying your eyeliner so much easier. So if you're looking for a great liquid liner, this is the one I'd recommend. In terms of pencil liner, I don't really have a favorite from Sephora. I love my drugstore pencil liners just as much, or ones from indie brands that I get from like Ipsy and BoxyCharm. I'm not too picky when it comes to those. I have two mascaras to share with you. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking so fast, but this video is already at like half an hour, and I'm not close to being done. I have two mascaras to share with you. The first is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes Mascara. I've been loving this one. It's been in my favorites recently, I believe. It has a natural bristle wand, which is my favorite, but it's not too big, so I don't find that I'm making a mess when I use this. The second mascara is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir Mascara. This is a luxury mascara, so it is a little bit pricier. It also has a natural bristle wand, but it has a bit more of an hourglass shape. And I find that this grabs onto all of my lashes and makes them really long and volumized, and it's definitely a super black formula. This, I think, is probably one of my favorite mascaras of all time. I tend to be a drugstore mascara kind of girl, because not that I think that mascara all does the same thing, because it definitely doesn't, but I have mascaras that I love at the drugstore, and even though this might be like near the top, I don't know if I could always justify buying a luxury mascara, because they do have to be thrown out every 3 to 6 months. So that definitely is something to keep in mind. In terms of lipstick, I have the Tarte Park Avenue Princess lipstick. Again, this is a mini. This is a perfect everyday sheer kind of nude shade. It's super easy to reapply throughout the day. It's not really long lasting, but I don't really mind with a lighter nude like this. And then for liquid lipsticks, I have two. The first is ColourPop Ultra Satin Lips. These are my favorite lipsticks of all time, and ColourPop is now sold at Sephora. They do have the Ultra Satin Lips, but it's in a limited edition exclusive gift set situation. So I haven't tried the shades that are in that kit, but the Ultra Satin Lip products from ColourPop are amazing. My favorite long-lasting, comfortable liquid lipstick formula ever. They're not super drying. They're also not the longest lasting because they are more of a satin matte finish. But if you're kind of over the super drying matte lip trend, I would definitely recommend trying the ColourPop ones. I'm losing my voice. My other favorite liquid lipstick formula is Ofra, which is not sold at Sephora, but if I had to pick one that I've tried from Sephora, I would have to say the Nars Lip Covers. I'm not Nars's biggest fan right now, but I can't deny that this product is good. This is what I have on my lips today. I have a lip gloss on top, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but this is the lip cover in the shade Overheated. It is a mauve nude type shade. There it is there. It's beautiful and wears really well and is not super drying. It's kind of a similar formula to the ColourPop Ultra Satins. Not exactly the same, they're not dupes of each other, but they're not super matte, but in turn they're not super drying. And that is the type of formula that I really enjoy. I have really textured lips, so the really matte formulas don't look the most flattering on me. In terms of lip liner, I love a lot of my drugstore lip liners just as well as high-end, so that's not really where I prefer to spend my money. So I don't have a lip liner to recommend to you today, but I do have a lip gloss. This is the Buxon White Russian lip gloss. This is one of my favorite lip glosses of all time. Definitely my favorite high-end lip gloss, and I would definitely say this is worth the money. This is what I have on top of the Nars lip cover today. It's just a great nude gloss shade. It does have like a minty vanilla scent to it, and it does tingle a little bit on the lips. That's it swatched there. But it's not sticky at all, yet it seems to last really well. So that is why it is definitely a favorite. I'm now going to move on to some skincare products. Skincare is a topic that I'm not super knowledgeable about, but I will share my personal favorites. I'm still kind of testing out a lot of skincare to find out what works best for me. I'm currently feeling really good about my skin, and that has to do with a lot of these products I'm going to talk about. Not all of them I have here to actually show you. I'm going to stop rambling and get into it. Cleanser is one of the things that I usually stick to the drugstore because, in my opinion, a lot of high-end cleansers are just way too overpriced. If they say it's like an anti-aging cleanser, I don't really see how it could be because it's only on your face for like how many seconds? Like I don't see how, even if it does have really great ingredients, I just feel like you're washing them down the drain. But I do have one exception to that, and that is the Philosophy Purity Made Simple cleanser. This removes makeup so well. I use this as the second cleanse on days where I'm wearing a lot of makeup and there will be nothing left on my skin. It's super gentle, never breaks me out, and because it removes makeup so well, I continue to repurchase this. I personally purchased mine at Shoppers Drug Mart in the like beauty boutique section. If you're Canadian, then you are familiar with that. It's kind of like Canada's answer to Ulta. Because I like the point system at Shoppers much better than Sephora, but it is sold at Sephora, so I did want to include it in this video. This is so good if you haven't tried it before. In terms of eye cream, I don't have one to show you physically because I have been out of it for a really long time, but haven't been able to justify the price, and that's the Algenist Complete Eye Renewal Balm. It's like over $80. But my under eyes were line free when I was using that. It was absolutely amazing. It's worth every penny if you can afford it. I personally can't justify that right now. But if you can afford a high-end eye cream, I would definitely recommend the Algenist one. In terms of acid toner, the Clinique ones work best for me. I do like the First Aid Beauty Radiance pads, but I feel like they're pretty pricey for how many you get, and I think the Clinique bottle of toner is better value for money because you just need a little bit on a cotton pad and use it that way. Again, I'm out of it. I might pick it up in the VIB sale for myself. I haven't decided yet. I don't have a moisturizer to recommend because I haven't found one that completely blows my socks off. I found ones that are good but not great, so I don't really want to recommend something that I don't absolutely love. But I do have an exfoliator here. This is the Kate Somerville ExfoliKate. This is very harsh, so if you have hypersensitive skin, do not use this at all. My skin is like a little sensitive, so I use this maybe once every 2 weeks. If I use it any more than that, my skin completely freaks out. But this exfoliates your skin so well. It does tingle for me, but that's completely normal according to the back. They do have a gentle variety of this, so if you do have sensitive skin and want to try it, go for the gentle version. But my skin feels so soft when I use this. It definitely gets rid of all of the dead skin cells, and this is also one of the more pricey products. I think this little baby size is like $30 or something silly, but this lasts me a long time because I can't use it all that often. And if I had to recommend one serum or treatment to you out of all of the ones I have in my collection, it would be Sunday Riley Good Genes. Since I have incorporated this into my skincare routine, I use it every second night because it's so expensive. I haven't been dealing with nearly as many breakouts as I have. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know I have had a lot of acne problems in the past. You can still kind of see like all of the scarring on my cheeks, especially the scarring is really bad, but I feel like this is even helping to improve that. This product is one that I don't want to live without. I have heard that the Nip and Fab something glycolic serum is similar, and I do own that, so I will be trying to incorporate that into my skincare routine once this runs out. And I really hope it's the same because it's so much cheaper. The full like big size of this is 200 Canadian dollars, which I think is ridiculous. I will probably only pick it up if I have gift cards. But I got this in a set last year, and my skin has never looked better since incorporating this into it. I can believe like a lot of high-end skincare is worth the price tag and still not be able to justify it, if you know what I mean. Like if you can't afford something, you can't afford something. You can argue all you want that a high-end handbag is worth every penny, but if you can't afford that handbag at that time, then it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of where I'm at with this and the Algenist eye cream. Like $80 for an eye cream is ridiculous, and $200 for a serum is also ridiculous, but they are worth every penny. If you can fit that into your budget, then I would definitely recommend those items. Now that my voice is pretty much completely gone, I know I was talking a mile a minute, but that was all of my absolute favorite products sold at Sephora that I would recommend to you to buy. I was going to tack on my wish list to the end of this video, but I feel like that's going to get way too long. But do let me know in the comments below if you would like to see what is currently on my Sephora loves list. I would love to do a video on that as well, like make a separate video on that. And I of course will be giving you guys a haul. The VIB sale starts November 10th, and that is when I'll be placing my online order. So whenever my order comes in, I will film the haul for you. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed kind of curating all of my favorites out of my collection. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!